Hi everyone, it's Vinny. You may know me as your triple blocked on TikTok or as Voltasanti on Twitter. And a whole hour-long video just got made about me by who else? yummicactus. And I'll be talking about it in depth. I'll try to be more mature and a bit more reflective in this video. If I don't come off that way, hey, I'm sorry, but you know. So, sorry, my cat's here. This will be about Cactus, the 13-year-old who made pro ship chan come to chan, also other chans like anti ship chan, all those other things. And I made a video about them in late 2024. I didn't handle the situation very great, I will admit, and I was unaware of Cactus's age at the time. And while that is very much irresponsible, I did not purposefully attack him knowing his age or attacking him with any predatory intent. Now we'll get into what Yumi said about the situation.
Very often, things regarding Chrissy get worse than just simple misinformation and go as far as harassment. One of the most notable instances of this happening is with a 13-year-old who goes by Cactus online. Not to be confused with me, yummicactus, however. Cactus has given testimony on what happened to them, and I'll be summarizing and providing screenshots of everything, but I heavily advise that you read the entirety of Cactus's testimonies that is located in the document in the description. This all started with Cactus creating character designs centered around online debates in a series that covered modern-day internet culture. They created characters that represent pro-ship discourse, such as Anti-kun, who represents pro-ship antis, and pro-ship chan, who represents pro-shippers. Cactus themselves have stated that they do not support either side, especially given their experiences with both. Back in late 2024, Chrissy found these OCs and made a TikTok about Cactus's character pro-ship chan, calling it ugly and mocking Cactus. The video would supposedly get 30,000 likes, and Chrissy would make a sequel to it where they redesign Anti-kun to be a soldier and draw Anti-kun standing over pro-ship chan's decapitated head with the phrase "kill all pro-shippers." This would make the audience assume that Cactus, the 13-year-old, was a pro-shipper, and even Chrissy themselves would claim in the comments that Cactus is a pro-shipper, and thousands of people would spend the next few months harassing Cactus, which he still faces this harassment to this day. The harassment ranged from petty insults about their art to people sending various rape threats, zoophilia threats, and general racism and bigotry. Most of the severe stuff occurred on Straw Page, where anonymous messages and drawings can be sent to a user. Chrissy would supposedly accuse Cactus of being a lolicon/shotacon, but if you don't know what those are, it's someone who draws NSFW art of characters that look like children, or enjoys the NSFW depiction of young children, often in a chibi or anime-like style. This was a baseless and completely false accusation that, again, Chrissy and their fans used as an excuse to attack Cactus, a 13-year-old. Chrissy would go through Cactus's following and find out that Cactus was following someone who turned out to be a predator. Cactus, of course, did not know this information, and Chrissy would DM Cactus about it and call Cactus a pedophile and tell Cactus to kill themselves, even after Cactus explained that they didn't know such. It should also be noted that Cactus's first language isn't even English, so they don't always know how to respond to things, and it should be clear that they unfollowed the predator after being given this information. Cactus has stated in their testimony that during this time they were struggling with IRL issues, and the added online harassment worsened their mental health to severe degrees. Meanwhile, the entire public supported Chrissy because of the false information they spread about Cactus. Allegedly, Chrissy would also make false claims about Cactus having a scat fetish because they have an OC named Scatsan, which is meant to be a play on Brazilian flop talk culture. Chrissy hasn't made any effort to deny this claim, or even anything from the Cactus situation, but they have made serious efforts to downplay it as just a nothing burger situation across several posts and comment sections. I actually directly asked Chrissy about the Cactus stuff, and they claim to have apologized and promised to send—
While I do admit I could have handled the situation much better, there are key details we missed out on, like such as how Cactus was mutuals with pro-shippers at the time. And now I don't have any screenshots because their following list is now private, but they did, you know, collaborate with pro-shippers and made like shotacon OCs and stuff like that with their anti-kun OC, mind you. And basically, like, I just, like, a lot of it's just extremely one-sided. Even though I do agree, like, I could have handled the situation, I probably shouldn't have talked about them at all because of their age, despite, you know, me not knowing it and stuff. And not to mention that Cactus made a video like this, and, okay, you just have to look at it because, Jesus Christ.
And the rain opened up the sky to get one last kiss. I love you like an alcoholic. One last kiss.
I love you like a statuette.
One last kiss. I need you like I need a broken leg.
Now, Cactus made this a while after I blocked him, probably to get a reaction out of me or something, and to be honest, it did make me quite uncomfortable. Now, I do understand that he is 13, obviously he can learn and grow, but I don't know, it just feels gross.
out of place. Some of the Cactus videos are still up, specifically one about the fact Cactus was following a predator and participating in the true crime community. Now, I've already addressed what happened with the following the pedophile thing, and I actually did not know Chrissy made an entire separate video calling Cactus out for this until just now, but it called out for the entire Cactus situation several times by me and several other users, and they just refused to take down this specific post accusing this poor kid of being a pedophile supporter and being in the TCC, and it's clearly out of some form of malice, and that's what their entire page is about. Later in the video, they deny ever sharing Cactus's profile on their page to avoid...
About that response video, the only reason why it stayed up was because I had no recollection of making it until now, so I took it down. I had no idea Cactus was in the TCC when he was having a really hard time with mental health, because again, I don't know this person. Like, I cannot stress this enough. I do not know Cactus as a person. I barely know anything about him. Like, at the time I was, calling him out, I didn't even know his age. Okay? I feel like this is very important to the situation, because while how I treated the situation was quite irresponsible, especially considering the fact that I told him to kill himself via DMs when I was getting, emotional, and I, shouldn't have done that at all. Like, that was completely not okay to do. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about the situation. If there's anything else I haven't mentioned, DM me, I don't know. Anyways, I'll be covering more shorter topics, which will take less time, so we can get through them a bit more quickly. Okay.
Now, you may actually recognize Charlie from his art or even his previous controversy on TikTok, and let me just say this. Chrissy is partially to blame for the misinformation spread about this entire thing, and the majority of online spaces do not know the reality of the situation. So maybe a year ago from now, NSFW vent art Charlie created was leaked, as well as some questionable art involving Hitler and Skibbity Toilet. The NSFW vent art was supposedly meant to reflect intrusive thoughts he dealt with, but never reflected any actual ideals or any genuine want to partake in actions.
Now, when I covered Charlie's situation, I didn't know the full extent of what happened either. I just knew that he made edgy art, which I'm pretty sure was on his public account. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, I don't really know this person. Also, I did fully censor it. No, I did not put a transparent bar over it. When I got the photo, it was censored. And this also kind of hits home for me, because I also suffer from intrusive thoughts. Not once have I made art of me trying to rape someone, though. That's something. But whatever, back to subject at hand. And honestly, I find it quite funny that Yumi gives Charlie all this grace when he drew Hitler as Skibbity Toilet, but when I made an anti-Nazi that wasn't even a Nazi, suddenly I'm Hitler in the Third Reich. I could genuinely go in depth of all of Yumi's hypocrisy, but we'd be here all day. So let's go on to the artist, Shaju.
Shaju is a 15-year-old artist. They may be 16 now, but at the time of what happened, they were 15. And they received a lot of harassment for having an art style others deemed as bad or unattractive. My friend Bree Jaws made a video on what happened to Shaju, and hopefully I'll remember to link it in the description so you can watch it. But some of the screenshots for this are cropped, and I apologize, but don't worry, Chrissy has confirmed they were all him. Chrissy created the first TikTok on Shaju, which was mocking their art style for having a smaller face and bigger hair than other art styles. And this would create an entire TikTok trend similar to the rendering process trend, where users would make fun of an artist for their artistic choices and no other reason, not because the artist actually did anything wrong. Shaju didn't do anything to warrant the harassment they received, and they would temporarily quit participating in online spaces due to the extreme bullying that Chrissy started. When people began pointing out that Chrissy's post was immature, Chrissy would then delete it and post this as an apology.
While I personally agree that video is mean-spirited and I've taken it down long ago, this is just a case of me bringing up an already resolved issue just for the sake of making me look worse. I apologized to Shaju privately via DMs, and I even translated it into his own language. I don't have any screenshots because my account was just deleted, and even if I still had my account, I might not be able to find the screenshots. But I can assure you that video is long gone, and so is everything else about that situation. And just bringing it back for no reason is not the right thing to do without added context.
Anyways, Chrissy would make a TikTok about Juny following this guy on Art Fight and commenting on one of his TikToks that was promoting his art fight. So, based off of that TikTok alone and the guy's page, you could not tell he was a neo-Nazi. And Chrissy's TikTok framed it like it was really obvious, but it genuinely wasn't, because all Juny had done is commented on this video and followed him on Artfight and bookmarked one of his characters.
I want to clarify, I found information without even having Juny in mind. In fact, I was looking at the other person's page because I knew he was a Nazi from the get-go, and literally take one look at his newsfeed page and you'll see the Nazi skull. And when I saw Juny comment on 2 of his posts, I was like, that's suspicious. That's weird. Which resulted me in making that video. And that video has since been taken down because new information has come out about that event, but at the same time, it wouldn't take much research to know that guy was literally a Nazi. And this resulted in Juny spamming my DMs and Yumi claiming I've ghosted him. Anyways, let's get on to Yumi Drawers. Yumi Cactus, my favorite.
Now, I'm just going to list all of the times that Chrissy has sent me or included me in fetish content, or at least endangered me in such ways. And obviously, all of these were intended as jokes. It doesn't make them funny, and it doesn't make them appropriate, because end of the day, you're still doing this. Sent me cropped fart/fat porn, drew themselves inflated next to my Sona, told people that I won't let them quote-unquote suck on it for defending me, calling other people my dick riders for defending me, repeatedly made references to fart/fat fetishes on my page and in my DMs, and also made a weird gotcha life age regression video about me, which
Okay, so I didn't think Yumi would take these so seriously and so literally, because I've really doubted that guy's ability to take a fucking joke. Like, please just take my word of advice. If someone is saying stuff like, oh, I'm farting, and it makes you comfortable, just block and move on, because they probably don't mean it in a sexual way. Also, that video of Yumi, quote-unquote, age regressing is actually a reference to a gacha video of net spend age regressing. I mean, I know it's supposed to be a serious video, but I can't believe this stuff is happening. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's move on to me being parasocial with me and bringing up my school life.
Testimonies from some former IRL friends of theirs speaking up about how Chrissy outed them as trans and endangered them. I would bring up these allegations, and at first Chrissy would outright deny them and say that I was spreading misinformation, and then later on their story they would confirm that they did in fact out this person as trans and endangered them, and in DMs they would again claim to apologize, but guess what? Chrissy didn't, and then I asked Chrissy for screenshots of them apologizing, and I was told it was too personal. Now, even if I had the screenshots of Chrissy apologizing, I wouldn't have shown them in my video, and I would have moved on from this claim specifically due to it being dealt with, but Chrissy repeatedly lying about apologizing to people after they severely wronged them is such a continuous and repeat behavior. It's terrible, and I hate having to come back to this point, but it being a repeat issue across so many situations is why I have to do such. Chrissy would claim that the former friends were abusive and that I was trying to dig into their personal life, as well as claiming that I was dead naming Chrissy and doxing them and sharing their personal information because I got witness testimony from these IRL friends. Now, if these people were genuine abusers, I would have appreciated it if Chrissy DM'd me with a testimony about what they did to him. So
I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't owe you a testimony. In fact, I don't owe you shit. I feel like all this is just so unnecessary because, in fact, some of Yumi's friends, ex-friends IRL have DM'd me too, but you know what I did? I didn't share it. Well, mainly because it was 2020 and Yumi would have been 11, and trying to call out someone for what they did when they were 11 would just be ridiculous. Personally, I just think asking for someone's personal messages between an IRL ex-friend of theirs is just kind of invasive and almost creepy. Like, you don't need to know this. Like, you're not my school counselor, bruv. You're a YouTuber. And the reason why my story kept quote-unquote changing was literally me just trying to recollect events that happened a year ago. Like, I'm ashamed in my ex-friends for trying to bring this to YouTube, and I'm ashamed in Yumi for even trying to entertain this shit. Anyways, the rest of that video is just pointless fluff, and I just want to talk about the important things first. Anyways, if you're an ex-fan, I'm sorry I let you down, but I'm not perfect, and shit happens. I don't know. And it's funny because at the start I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be civil, I'm gonna be mature, but it just all went down the gutter as soon as I started bringing up my personal life and shit like that. So, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyways, for those who stick around, I love you guys. See you next time if I get my count back.